Hello everyone, this is Persephone in the probably grossest video I have ever made so far, but we need to talk about it, so brace yourself. So the inspiration for this video is a Chinese man I was talking to online a few weeks ago, and he told me there are no gay men in China because I don't know anyone who is gay, so it must mean that they don't exist here, right? And he started berating the West and saying that everyone there is a pervert and gay. So I asked him, isn't it kind of like not the best political climate to come out as a gay man in China? And he was like, yeah, but we don't have anyone gay here anyway. So because I don't have an inclination to prevent psychotic people from being psychotic, I promptly blocked this person and plan to ignore from now on. But I have been thinking that looking from my parents' generation, like I'm a millennial because you can imagine that their generations are like boomers, Generation X, and so on. I don't know of a single person whose parents do not pretend to be straight. And even if we know about people that they are blatantly like LGBTQ and they divorced because of that reason, it's still some kind of like huge secret in the closet. No one admits that. There is no such thing as a generation of people where no one was gay or no one was trans or no one was like asexual, or like the Chinese person said, no one is gay where I am. That simply doesn't exist. So this means that some of our parents, and I include my parents too because I don't know what they're doing. I wish I would have been great gossip, but I don't know. Some of our parents also have kinks of their own, preferences of their own, and could be in the closet. Now, even if you say my parents are not like that, Persephone, don't go there, I would say that after 10, 20, 30, 40, 200 years of marriage, sexual attraction doesn't have permanence. This is a hill I'm willing to die on. So after 3 to 5, maybe 7 years, if you're lucky, people stop being attracted to each other. If you add children in the mix, they become parents instead of lovers. That's just the natural course of life, and that's why cheating was so acceptable for men through many cultures. This means that we're talking about the generation of people who were extremely sexually oppressed. I know it's a gross topic to discuss the sex life of our parents, but you can see how that affects their behavior towards our sex life or towards our sexuality. For me, again, I know that people love it when I share like gossip, oversharing personal stuff. It's good for views, so I'm going to continue doing it. One of the reasons that I like femdom is that it was the ultimate taboo in the extremely patriarchal culture that I was raised in, that women were not only supposed to not be dominant, they were supposed to be like extremely submissive. A woman expressing sexual interest in a man, a woman saying that she wanted to have sex, it was like out of the question. You couldn't even imagine that. That woman must have been a pervert. So everything that becomes extremely forbidden tends to become fetishized. But for my parents and for a lot of other people's parents, they see it as I missed out, so who are you to have more chances than me? It's competition. So are you sure that your parents who hate you for being gay, let's say, and they're extremely homophobic, aren't gay themselves? I think these people need to go through the grieving process. Like, if your father is gay and he has been in the closet and he married a woman all of his life, that's horrible. No one should be in the closet. And he should go through the grieving process if he can't reclaim his life and be out of the closet without harming or harassing anyone else. But most people are so disconnected from their trauma that they need constant distraction. They need to abuse someone else to become the abuser because someone abused them, or they need to abuse themselves. The fact that some people ask why some people become abusers and some do not, I think that mostly they engage in some form of abuse. So let's say your mother wasn't into men. Maybe she didn't even know what she wants. Maybe she's bi. She married your father right off of high school because that's what everybody did. And after that, because she hates having sex with him, she's binge eating and she makes herself 200 pounds because being overweight makes her safe from sexual advances from him or from other men. This is something very dark. And I'm not saying that you should necessarily be a psychologist or a detective, although I love doing these things, but like I said, they're not for everyone. But next time you see someone acting in an extreme way, extremely hostile towards gay people or towards fetishes or weaponizes religions that you're going to go to hell if you do this, this, and this, you don't have to internalize their shame or their hatred or their nonsense. You should look at them and think, is that a deprived person? What's up with them? Maybe someone broke their heart. Maybe they're gay and they had a crush on their best friend who was straight. Maybe their wife is asexual and she never wanted to have sex with them, so she put them into a perpetual dead bedroom and they're sexually frustrated, but they can't cheat. Because, even cheating, not everyone can cheat. You have to be very handsome and very capable to hide that you're married to go cheat. Or you have to be rich and pay escorts. I'm not a cheater apologist. I don't believe that you should cheat, but I'm just saying, if you can't leave and you can't go through the grieving process and you can't cheat, you start looking for places to direct your anger towards. The most common example, because of my long tormented history with Asian men, like, why do I do this to myself? The usual Asian mother, she acts as if sex doesn't exist until her son is like 28 to early 30s. She's treating him as a completely asexual, completely emasculated entity. He's not a man. She's not going to treat him as a man too, and his father is usually a loser drinking himself to death or cheating, or he's not a good male role model. And once he hits a specific number, for some men it's 25, for some men it's 30, for some men it could be 35, then the pressure starts, why don't you have a girlfriend or a wife? Because we want grandchildren. And for me, that is equally degrading to men as it is to women. You do not exist to produce other humans so that your selfish mother can have another distraction from her failed marriage, her failed problematically asexual marriage now that you're out of the house. Because that's what they want grandchildren from, I'm telling you. The people with the most disorders, the people who have been the most repressed, who cannot work through their trauma, obsess over children. They have children to have something to obsess over. They have children to explain the fact that they no longer have sex with their spouse, because they use the child as a shield. You're going to tell me that these people had a good relationship and it's the child that ruined it? Come on. So in a similar way, if you are Asian and your parents didn't teach you anything about sex, women, black people, like how to live in society, how to not be a pushover, if they kept you away from sports, if you don't know how to resolve conflict, you have to go out there and find a wife, not even a girlfriend, not even step by step. A lot of these people don't realize that socialization happens in stages. That my mother used to say, why do you need to socialize at 14? You need to study. Because it's training ground for society, and because being the crazy person in the basement isn't going to exactly help you in the future. But my mother didn't want me out there. She would say, well, I didn't get to socialize. I was a teenage mom. Why should you? Because it's not a freaking competition. That's why. Because your family members are not your enemy, and also because me not having a life is not going to fix you not having a life. But good luck explaining that to those people. Good luck. Best of luck. You're never going to get through to them. Anything that triggers their trauma, they're going to shut down. And then you go back to, how dare you talk to us like that, blah, blah. I don't even have time for that. All I'm saying is that get rid of all of the burdens that they are not yours. If your parents hadn't had sex in 50 years, that's not your problem. If your parents are some kind of LGBTQ person in the closet, that's not your problem. You can't help people who don't want to help themselves. You need to sit down with yourself and figure out, who are you, what's your sexuality, what do you want, how do you want to live your life. If you don't want to tell your parents about these things, you don't have to. Another thing that my father always tries to invade and violate in a very creepy way, and I've called him out on that because I have this, what he calls it these days, machine gun mouth, that I can kill people with my mouth, is that it's none of your business what I do. And when I say that, I mean not just sexually, in general. I'm an adult, you're an adult, I can share as much or as little as I want, and as much as I think you can handle. Because when I was 18, and we would meet and he would say, you're shaming the family, and I can't believe you did this. And then I would ask him, okay, what did I do? And he would say, you know what you did. And I would be thinking, I know what I did, but which one of the 37 things I did this week that you wouldn't approve of do you know? Because I can't just give myself away. So in a similar sense, I don't care what your age is. If you have the need to have someone's blessing to go out and be your authentic self, you have mine. So if you want children, you should plan on how to be the best possible parent for them. If you don't want children, you should get a vasectomy. If you have 2 inches, you should start dedicating yourself and preparing for a life as a femdom sub, because ignore your mother that she says that size doesn't matter. I believe that having a good family is a blessing. It's probably the biggest blessing together with having good health. But what about us that we don't have the best families? Are you going to be in the same perpetual closet as your parents? In my opinion, there are so many awful things in this world, but wanting to be feminized, or a man being in love with another man, or a woman being dominant, or anything else, those are not really bad things. We're not supposed to be all the same. So no, I don't buy that there are no gay men in China, or that everyone in the previous generation was straight and just like not having a sex life after some time, you become parents and it's normal. How is that even normal? If it happens for some people and they're okay with it, that's fine. If you are not okay with it, that's also fine. But unfortunately, diversity or having an open mind or being tolerant, those were things that they were never given to me. I had to fight for them. I had to fight for every single one of them, and I'm sorry to say that, but you may have to fight for them also. And if you say, what do you mean by fighting? I don't mean calling your mother on the phone right now and starting a fight and saying you didn't have sex, so I don't get to have sex too, because some people may take it literally. I need to explain. What I mean is you need to start having a plan. For some people, it's going to be an escape plan on how are you going to live in a way that allows you to be your authentic self. Because if you're trans and you're in a transphobic, let's say, red state, that's not going to end up well. You have to move out of there. If you're gay and your mother is rambling about marrying a woman and having grandchildren, please don't drag an innocent woman into this mess and doom yourself and her to a life of misery. It's all up to what you want. Sit down and ask yourself what you want unapologetically and then go get it. It's that simple and that complicated. If you hear someone saying, you realize it's simple, but most people are even afraid to go after what they want. This is how far we have been conditioned. Do what you want. I'm very interested in what you want to do in the comments. If you want to talk to me, OnlyFans is above. You sign up, you can watch the content. I have a lot more extreme videos that I can't post here because YouTube doesn't want them. And thank you for watching.